Hello, everyone. My name is Yash Tadimala. I am a fourth year PhD student here at UNC Charlotte in the College of Computing and Informatics. I'm also the president for the Graduate and Professional Student Government here at UNC Charlotte, and I would like to welcome you all to the Spring 2024 virtual orientation. And I also wanted to congratulate you all on joining UNC Charlotte for your graduate journey. And further on, you'll learn a lot more about the various things we offer here at UNC Charlotte. But I just wanted to introduce myself to you all and welcome you all to the graduate student community. There will be a lot of events and activities that you will get to participate in the next 2 weeks, starting off with this event. So feel free to ask questions, be curious. And on that note, I would like to introduce our interim associate provost and assistant dean, Dr. Pinko Mukherjee.
Hello. My name is Pinku Mukherjee, and I am the interim associate provost and the dean of the graduate school. Want to welcome all of you and congratulations on beginning your journey here at Charlotte. So as an undergraduate, you worked to gain valuable knowledge, a foundation for what is to come. Now you build on that foundation and become a creator of knowledge. The answers you seek will lead to tomorrow's breakthroughs in science and in society. So as you all know, Bonnie Cohn, who founded and led this university in the 1940s, when it was known as Charlotte College, had a vision for an institution that would provide higher education opportunities for returning war veterans and high school graduates who couldn't afford to go away to college. Miss Bonnie, as she was known, was an optimist and a tireless motivator who wouldn't let a student give up on education, even if they were working full-time and going to school at night. There are still many people like Miss Bonnie here at Charlotte. The faculty and graduate leaders you will meet in the coming days have worked hard to foster an inclusive and welcoming campus environment to serve as excellent mentors who will help bring out the best in you and will support you as you hone your skills and become world-class researchers and leaders after you earn your degree. But the fact remains is that your role here is really critically important and significant. You play an integral part in shaping the future of this university, and many of you play an instrumental role in ensuring the success of our undergraduate population. So we want you all to have the most enriching and meaningful experience here that you will carry with you each and every day. For example, if you have any questions regarding your studies, you can speak with your advisor, your department coordinator, visit Niners Central in the Cone building, or contact the graduate school. Someone will always have an answer for you. I also urge you to check out the professional development opportunities at our Reynolds Center for Graduate Life and Learning, the Reynolds CGLL as we call it. There, you will find a host of career preparation resources, and we also have a newly established graduate writing center, which will help you with any kind of writing needs that you may have. If you pay student fees, you will be happy to know that you have access to a counseling center, which is in addition to one-on-one counseling, and also hosts group therapy and affinity group events. As I remember, grad school can be stressful, and I encourage you to seek support if you need it. There are people here for you who can help you. Now, as you embark on your graduate journey, remember that many of us here on campus keep the memory of Miss Bonnie alive and want nothing more than to see our students succeed. We hope that you will be passionate about the work you are embarking on. One day, your achievements will be the ones people mention when the topic of excellent graduate education arises. Welcome again, and go Niners.
Thank you, Dean Mukherjee. Welcome, everybody. Hello, salam, namaste. So glad to have you here. So glad to see so many new students. I really hope you'll find the information here today useful. I hope it will calm your jitters a little bit. We have a little bit of talking to do, and then we're going to have a panel with some students where you can chat in questions. So you can actually even just go ahead and start chatting in any questions you might have now. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to open breakout rooms so you can hop into whichever rooms you want and ask whichever questions you want. So to start out, what I want to just do here is share my screen for a second. I have a little activity. All right, so you guys can see that, right? Yeah. Classes start next week. You're embarking on your graduate journey already in just a few days. If you want to just like take a little look at the QR code there, or use the text message to tell us all how you're feeling about starting class next semester. Let's see here. Excited, good. Nervous. All right. Ready. Empowered. There are some optimists here. This is nice. I'm always very nervous and anxious myself. Okay. So I'm going to keep sharing my screen for the moment, but I wanted to say that a little bit of anxiety is not a bad thing, really. It shows that this is important to you, right? And that you want to do well. You wouldn't be stressed or nervous if this stuff didn't matter. I'm glad to see excited is like bigger than nervous though. Because you guys are in the right place, right? You shouldn't be too stressed. You should be excited, honestly. You made it through the admissions process. You were chosen, you beat out other people, and you're going to do great things here. And actually, you've done a lot of things, to get to this spot before that. You all were undergrads at some point. Many of you have been working, raising children, caring for other family members. Many of you have taken a long hiatus from school to do other things, and now you're back. So you all have the intelligence and the resilience and the fortitude to do really well in graduate school. So those were my words of encouragement. Now I'm going to get on with some business. Normally during our, actually I'm going to stop sharing now as well. Normally during our orientation, we have a couple of our deans, they speak and they welcome you and they share some tips for grad school. But unfortunately, everybody has gotten sick this week or they've had some sort of emergency. So I'm going to go over the talking points with you. So here's the really important part. As Dr. Mukherjee said, graduate school is not like being an undergrad, right? So the expectations are higher in grad school. You need to make A's and B's, right? You don't want to make C's. You could maybe make 1 or 2, but you really don't want to. You need to have a minimum 3.0 GPA in order to graduate. Faculty also expect you to be an autonomous learner. So you're not just slogging into class and just doing assignments, right? If there are gaps in your knowledge, you need to do the research to fill those gaps. You need to ask questions. Like when you're in your seminars or in your labs, don't feel stupid to ask questions. You need to ask questions of your more senior colleagues who have been here longer. You need to ask your advisor questions. You can come to the library and work with a subject librarian and ask them questions. So definitely be brave and ask the questions, and that will serve you well down the road. So since you've already graduated from college, faculty also expect that you understand academia, which there's a lot I could say about understanding academia, but for now, I just want to talk about academic integrity. We have a really detailed academic integrity policy here, and maybe somebody could drop that in the chat. And that way everybody can read it, familiarize yourself with it, because it's really important that you know the definition of cheating and plagiarism. You need to know what is considered unauthorized collaboration. You need to know what would be considered unauthorized use of artificial intelligence. And you definitely don't want to slip up where any of this stuff is concerned, because it will have a negative effect on your career. So here in the graduate school, we're here to help students be successful, right? We set sort of the minimum floor for all of the rules and the policies, but your individual programs might have stricter rules or more policies over and above what the graduate school has set. So be sure to read your program website. If you need any clarification, you can always talk to your advisor, or if you have a program coordinator, you can talk to them. They're a great resource. So just make sure you know what the requirements are for your program. So all of that might sound scary and severe, but Charlotte does have many, many resources to help you succeed academically. And you're going to learn more about those resources as we go along. But it's definitely, up to you to take advantage of these resources. And I highly encourage you to do that. And then you will probably thrive in graduate school. And I just want to take a second to say that, like, my job is really rewarding to me, because I get to see you guys, working on all sorts of things, improving the education system, reforming our prisons, making breakthroughs in cancer research, finding solutions to climate change, all this stuff. So I personally want to see you succeed, and I wish you great success going forward. So next, what I'm going to do is introduce Holly Holliday. She's a PhD candidate in organizational science, and she's worked on an authorship agreement project. She's been doing this for a while. So she's going to take a few minutes to talk to you about authorship agreements. This was not on my radar at all when I started grad school, but it's super important.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you today, just to speak for very briefly a few minutes on authorship and what it means in academia. So I think when we all come into graduate school, we probably have a preconceived idea of what authorship is and what that means. But something that I've learned in my tenure here is that it is not always what we think it is. And so I'm going to share a couple of slides here, and then also I will be adding some resources into the chat. I'm actually really glad to be doing this on Zoom, because even though I have QR codes on the slides, I can actually drop some really helpful links right into the chat for you. So I'm excited to do that. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to start here. This is just a slide that indicates that we need to be talking about what authorship is. And often this is going to be between you and your advisor or other people that you're working with on collaborative research. So research tends to be very collaborative, particularly in business and in other fields. Perhaps not all. So some of you may not connect with this idea of collaboration on research projects as much as others, but it is important for everyone to think about in terms of their position in graduate school and the work that they'll be doing. So often when we're talking about like biology or chemistry or even business, when experiments are involved, you have whole research teams that are working on projects together, and roles may vary, and different people will be working on different manuscripts, maybe coming from the same experiment or other types of projects. And in such cases, roles may vary on what those manuscripts are. You may be what we call a first author on some, a last author on some, and those have different meanings and connotations across disciplines. So it's important to think about what that means for your discipline as you're getting started in graduate school and what roles authorship might play. So whenever collaboration is in question, it also presents opportunities for some conflict to occur. And unfortunately, when that happens, we really need to have some fail-safes in place to help protect us. And one of those things that we've developed here at Charlotte is an authorship agreement. And this is publicly available both through the graduate school website and through our own project website. So I'll be sharing those links with you. But basically, it is a 7-part agreement, which sounds a little daunting. But as you can see here, this section 1 is just a quick question about whether or not this is the student-led project that you're working on, whether it's your thesis or dissertation or something else. And then the rest of the agreement is other prompts that are things for you to discuss with members of your authorship teams or project teams whenever you're working on a manuscript together or any sort of project in which you think you might be pursuing some sort of publication. This agreement is now something that we encourage everyone in the university to do for any type of collaborative project, but especially if it's a student-led project, and we are encouraging our students to spearhead the process of taking these agreements to their advisors and asking them to work together and fill them out and things of that nature to help guide these collaborations. There is also an authorship policy here at the university that is supposed to be used in terms of guidelines and things that you might need to use if you ever encounter a less than ideal authorship situation. So I'll encourage you to check out that policy as well. And again, I'll add that link at the end. And then finally, we've developed a course for Charlotte students, for Charlotte graduate students. We've also actually developed a complimentary course for faculty and staff as well who are involved in collaborative research. And so we encourage both graduate students to take the graduate course and faculty staff to take the faculty staff course. This is information about the graduate student course directly. So the QR code would take you to the course in Canvas. And I can share this information with Dr. Young as well and other faculty and staff in the graduate school who can send this out to you as well. And your program directors should know about it. Your advisors should know about it. But we are encouraging all graduate students to take the course in Canvas. It's an hour and a half. Hour to an hour and a half. It's a little bit different than the other training courses that you might be asked to take in graduate school in terms of things like your building safety or things like that. This is a little bit more in depth and gives you some practical application opportunities and tools and resources that you can use when you're working on your collaborative projects. So as I said, I will be dropping the links to our project website, the authorship agreement itself, and the policy through the graduate school in the chat. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There's a contact form on our website, but also my email address is available to you all. So if you have any questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out. Really excited for you all getting started in your graduate school journey. And thank you again for allowing me to be here with you today. Thanks, Dr. Young.
Thank you so much, Holly. And I really do hope everybody will check out those resources. I also realized that I did not introduce myself at all when I started talking. I'm Dr. Ara Young. I'm the Associate Director of the Center for Graduate Life and Learning. As I said, some people are out sick. So our Executive Director, Jill Huerta, can't be with us today. But we do have a panel of Graduate Life Fellows who are going to join us. They're going to work on unmuting right now. And I'm the person who has sent you guys so many emails over the past few weeks. And I sent you this link. So you've heard from me a few times, and you will continue to hear from me throughout the semester because I send out every Monday an e-blast called Grad Weekly. So you'll receive that in your email by midday on Monday usually, and that contains information with, you know, our upcoming events, funding opportunities, you know, anything helpful that we could find relevant to grad students. We put that in there and try to send it out to you. Okay, Miguel, do you want to explain what a GLF is? Because I have done plenty of talking and I still have more talking to do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Wilson. I am a third-year doctoral student studying organizational science. As a GLF, we are here as resources for you as grad students. We're just touch points. If you have any questions, concerns, if you're experiencing it, we've probably gone through it. We are in charge of running events. We're often in the CGLL where all the fun stuff happens. You know, if you need snacks, there's always workshops or something happening. That's why it's a really good idea to check out the Grad Student Weekly, because that's where you're going to find all the events. Does anybody else want to talk about what we do as GLFs?
Wasn't sure if Nita was going to say something because I see she's unmuted, but I was just going to say, in addition to of just like really supporting students and helping bring each other across different disciplines, because it's so easy to get stuck in your program. But part of our role is to really connect one another, each other, peers and all that across different disciplines to really just have a good time and also to relax. Like, yeah, we do offer a lot of workshops, but we also offer like a lot of fun events just for us to come together and relax and really enjoy one another.
Thank you, Simone and Miguel. Simone, do you want to introduce yourself? I don't think you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I am Simone. I am in the counseling program. This is my second year in the counseling program, and I'm doing clinical mental health.
Nejla, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hello, my name is Nejla. I'm a master's student at UNC Charlotte, and I major in architecture. I previously got my degree at UNCG, but now I'm here in Charlotte and I'm having a good time. And I'm a CGL.
Nita?
Hello everyone, my name is Neeta. I am third year PhD student in Infrastructure and Environmental System, and welcome everyone.
And Ruth?
Hi, everybody. I'm a third year PhD student in biology, and I am happy to be here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt Flynn. I'm a second year doctoral student in the Doctoral in Business Administration program. And I'm happy to be here. I dittoed everything everybody else said. Let me know if you have any other questions. Shoot me an email offline if you need to.
Thanks, Matt. And then I think Yesh is also joining us. I think while we wait for them, as I said, I'm Aura Young. I work in the CGLL, the Center for Graduate Life and Learning. Our office is actually in Atkins in the library building across from the Career Center. So even though we're part of the graduate school, we're in a different location altogether. But as Miguel mentioned, you can come in here anytime you want. You can hang out in our lounge. You can use our microwave. Often we have coffee, so you can drink coffee when we have coffee. And yeah, we just like to take a break from our work occasionally and chit chat with students. So come anytime. Okay, so Yesh, we heard you introduced yourself earlier. Yesh is also a former Graduate Life Fellow, and he used to work in our office as well. So I've known Yesh the whole time I've been working here. Okay, so guests, please go ahead and chat in any questions you have about graduate school. Ruth, did I get you? Yes. Okay, good. Go ahead and chat in any questions you have about graduate school, and we'll work on answering them. While we wait for questions to roll in, I thought I would just start by asking the GLFs, what do you wish you knew when you started graduate school, or what would you have done differently, if anything? And you can just, Ruth, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I think the biggest thing that I've learned, especially like in my third year, is like, there's no way to get around the reading. Like, you have to read and you have to do a lot of reading and a lot of writing. And so I think that's the one thing I wish I would have known, like starting out, like, just go ahead and do the reading now, because there's no way to get around it.
Well, I mean, the fact is, you can't read every single page of everything you're assigned, at least for me, because I was a literature person, and I learned that there literally are not enough hours in the week. So you do need to learn how to skim certain things and prioritize certain things. So, read the first and last sentence of a paragraph, get the idea, that sort of thing. So you have to read strategically, for sure.
Yeah, I want to go ahead here for a second. first, I want to say that don't overstress on anything because mainly for international students, the learning pattern is completely different here. So I became so overstressed for the like in my first semester, and then I got like gradually know that okay, we should not do because here the study pattern is different, which is good. So in my country, so what we did, we studied for 2 or 3 months and then we gave exams. That's all. But here, if we do just like 2-3 hours learning every day, then we don't need to stress like at our end of the exam because we have our internal exam, project, everything. So the one thing I say mainly to international students, don't overstress and try to like do the time management.
Yes, it's good advice. And we have a time management workshop coming up soon. I'm not sure where it is on the calendar, but you can take a look at gradlife.charlotte.edu. And Nita, do you just want to mention where you're from? Because maybe there are some other people here from your home country.
Yeah, I'm from Nepal. Just let me know if anybody here from Nepal.
Yeah, the Grad Life Fellows, I mean, if you guys want to like put your email address in the chat also, you know, for any of the guests here, if you feel like you could connect with the Grad Life Fellow if they have similar interests or whatever, you can feel free to email them. What other advice do you have for first year students?
I would say, can I go? I would say definitely prioritize your breaks. Even if you have to like schedule in your breaks. And I think a great way to do that is to like go to events or to hang out with your friends, go on a walk, read a book, go touch the grass, literally. Because I think those are the things that actually re-energize you. They can also be great opportunities to kind of like step away from your work that you have, gives you kind of a new perspective. And really, I think lessens the chance of you getting burnt out or feeling just like frazzled. I think really having connections outside of your program, whether it's in Charlotte, period, or, you know, across departments in the university, you know, just finding a way to maybe not get so narrow focused, because grad school isn't just about the coursework, it's also about the connections that you make, and it's about, you know, overall the fact that we're taking this time to invest in ourselves, and that's something that I think is really prioritized not only through like the CGLL and our events, but also I think something that we can try and cultivate within our connections with each other.
That's
To piggyback off Miguel, I was basically gonna say the same thing. I was able to prioritize going to the gym more and physical fitness in my graduate program than in undergrad, which is like crazy because you're like, oh, I don't have time for it. But like making time for things that like truly matter and sticking to them, like they're just as important as your schoolwork, or that's how I think of it sometimes, because it's like you're taking care of yourself. Also, this is not for like specifically me, but I know there's could be some type of age gaps sometimes in degrees, especially some people that takes breaks, some people that come back. But just don't try to do the imposter syndrome where you think someone that's older than you has way more knowledge about something, or someone younger than you has been introduced to something more like new, but like being able to work off of each other. And like most of the times we're all starting at the same like spot. So I would get to know everyone that's like in different ages, whatnot.
That's all. Can I just say one thing real quick? Natasha, it seems like people can only direct message me and I cannot multitask and figure out why. So can you please help? And Yash, what were you going to say?
Simone, you can go ahead.
Or Simone?
Sorry, are you sure? Okay. I was just gonna echo, I think too, of just taking opportunities to again go to events and really connect with other people. I think when I first moved to Charlotte for the grad program, like it was very like lonely because I didn't have any friends. And then like I started doing different things. Obviously, I got a job with other individuals who were students, and so that really helped me to like make connections and also to just find fun things to do in Charlotte. Like, I think that really added to my experience of just being in a grad program, because I was able to like connect with other students, figure out what other students like, how they navigated grad school. And so it just has really like enhanced my experience beyond just feeling really supported by my program and faculty, and just, you know, knowing that I could always like, if I do have a question, I can go to the grad school, I can go to CGLL. Like, I have such a great supportive network on like the like university level, but also making sure like you have like a good connection like with peers, and just not just in your program, but with other people as well. So that like in those moments, like again, like having those connections, you can, you know, experience Charlotte, you can find time to rest, really hone in on your hobbies and the things that you enjoy, and maybe find things that you didn't know you would enjoy.
I agree with all of the points. I'm gonna give something that is different, even if it's not the first thing, because all the advice has been said so far already. Google Calendar is your best friend. Try to learn how to use Google Calendar. If you haven't already, it also helps you not only for scheduling meetings with others, but also you can see times that other people are working on different things to find common times. But also you can schedule time for yourself to do different things in graduate school so that you don't feel overwhelmed. If you want to do some reading and writing, you can put it on your calendar. And I like Google Calendar more than written calendars, even though I've read research that says written calendars are more accountable, is that Google Calendar allows you to share your plans with other people. With a written planner, that's more harder. And a second piece of advice would be, as soon as you get here, get a photo shoot done, like 2 pictures, 1 picture of you in formal clothes. If you don't have clothes, we have the career center, where you can go and get clothes that fit you, get a professional headshot, and go to one of your classrooms which has a podium, stand behind it and take a picture as if you're talking from that podium, whether you've done it before or not, whether you're scared. And use that picture for different things. People like to see that you have those skills, and that's a good way to establish that branding. And branding is really important to get jobs in this economy.
It is, and we'll have a workshop coming up this semester on personal branding, and we have a credit-bearing course on personal branding as well. All this stuff is on our website. So, okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions that came directly to me. And now a few more that are going to everyone. I just want to say, if you have like a really specific like academic question and we don't get to it, you can either jump into the academic question breakout room at 5 o'clock, or email me and I'll try to get you in touch with the right person. So I did have a couple questions about, okay, maybe you can answer this, Matt. My program is in the Dubois Center. Are any of the students on the panel at that campus? If so, well, is parking available? And then any advice for students at that campus? Oh, and then FAFSA questions. That's a different thing. Okay. Looks like Nejla can answer.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, so architecture is actually there and on main campus. I know there's like a whole bunch of other students there, but usually you have your own floor depending on your program. So there is a place to park. Once you buy your parking pass, it will automatically register to that center, the Dubois Center. And then you're able to park anywhere. It's like a big gravel lot. So parking isn't an issue, like you'll have a parking spot. It does get kind of sketchy a little bit at night, so try to leave or like have someone walk with you when you're leaving. There's a cafe in the Dubois Center that just has drinks, like snacks, but there is a like a market up the road that a lot of students walk to called 7th Street. So that's where a lot of people get food if you're there all day, like architecture students. Did I answer the full question?
Well, there was the parking and just any advice for students at that campus. Matt, did you have anything you could contribute?
Yeah, I would just add that the business school, there's a lot of the business school is at the Dubois Center as well. And so like Nejla said, the parking lot isn't ideal, but it is a big parking lot. It's a big gravel lot. And so your parking privileges will be, if you have classes there, the parking system will give you privileges to that lot automatically. But I would caution you to, just because you have access to that lot for your classes, be careful on parking there at other times. Like if you go down for a basketball game or something and thinking you have full access to that parking, you could end up getting a ticket or something like that. So just be aware of like the rules on when and when not you can park there, because the location is amazing. It's like right next to the Spectrum Center where the NBA team plays and all kinds of stuff. So, and like Nigel said, there's some other places to eat around there that you can walk to or take the train to as well. So it's a great location. You know, parking is okay. There's a lot of parking spots, but just, you know, be watching the rules on that.
Thanks, Matt. I'm just looking at the chat here. And let's see here. So one person says, I'm a full-time teacher, mom, and now going into a graduate program. I usually don't have a lot of extra time and feel the stress of being able to accomplish everything in a timely manner. What would you recommend implementing in order to lessen the stress? Yeah, I really don't get a break and I'm nervous. I mean, Yash did mention the calendar. That's very, very helpful. Know that you're not the only one in this boat. I was also, well, I was a single mom when I was in grad school. That was super duper fun. Took me 8 years to finish. Let's see, GLFs, do you have any advice for like maximizing your time?
I think Josh really hit it on the head with saying like using a calendar. I know for me, like Google Calendar just works well because I have access to it on my phone. And whenever like I get those notifications, like it'll come up and it'll say, oh, this is in an hour, this is in a day, this is in 10 minutes. I think that's really like the real key to maximizing your time is being like, okay, I'm going to allocate these hours to this specific thing and try to make sure that you stick to that and you only change your schedule when it's something that's more important than whatever you have on that schedule. Like just trying to make sure that you're maximizing that time by saying, okay, these are my hours that I'm going to do this thing with. But I think it's also important, like the best way to maximize your time also ties into what Nejla said about like, you know, taking care of yourself. Like I found that I'm a better graduate student when I'm taking time to take care of myself as well throughout my day. So not just like overrunning myself with just working on my project, but also, you know, taking an hour or 2 hours a day and saying, okay, I'm gonna take care of myself at this time. And then I'm gonna use the other 7 hours of, you know, the day to focus on these specific things. So being very, you know, intentional with your time and intentional with what you're doing with those hours.
I think also like because you're not in this alone, like the people in your cohort or even just people above you in your program, like talking to them about like tips and tricks that they had, you know, connecting with people in your class, you know, sharing notes, you know, finding ways to like lessen the load if you can. I know for different courses it's different, but I know for like my cohort that was really helpful. And also just like to, even if just means like venting to people, like not making this your own burden. And again, you know, thinking about those breaks, because I think that helps as far as like stamina across the course of the semester.
Go ahead, Matt.
So I was just going to add one thing on the parent perspective. I know part of the question was that you have a kid, and so I have 2 little kids, and so what everybody's saying is totally true. Like you have to be very deliberate about your schedule, but I also understand that kids throw wrenches in that schedule all the time, right? And so like that Mike Tyson quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That is like kids will do that to you, and so. I would just say be flexible. So, you know, you can have a plan, but like, you know, when you have a baby, you sleep when they sleep, all those kind of things. Same thing for this. When they're being quiet, take that opportunity, whether it's 8 o'clock at night or whatever, take that opportunity to get out some papers and get something done. Unfortunately, with all these things going on in everybody's lives, the nights have to be can't be off limits. And so, and I'm sure any professor would tell you the same thing, that they use a lot of time at nights to grade papers and things like that. So you just have to use all your time wisely. And I know that with kids, that sometimes means being flexible. So.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And also, I mean, just bear in mind, graduate school is only for a finite period of time. So it might be rough. You might miss out on some sleep, right? I mean, you probably will, but you'll get through it and you'll be better for it on the other end. So let me see here.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I'm also an international student from India. I'm from Hyderabad. If you're from Hyderabad, raise your hand or something, so I can see if there's representation. But I was gonna say something that, along with time management, something that I learned that was culturally different was when I first moved here, the expectation of showing up with different time or appointments. I had the first week I was here, I had a meeting with my advisor. I was 7 minutes late. In India, often up to 15 minutes is like, okay, we call it India time. But I was 7 minutes late and the professor canceled our meeting. He said, I want you to come 2 minutes before the meeting time, not after. So there's a big cultural difference in time expectations. So when you plan for time, plan for that. So always try to be 5 minutes early for your class, for your meeting, or anything that you are planning for. And also mental well-being or therapy is something that is not often looked upon well or in a positive light in my country and in many other international countries. But time management, staying up night, like burnout, all of those things can be buffered with therapy a little bit while you're doing all of those things. So I would definitely encourage people to reach out to CAPS. Also, moving to a new country can bring up things. So I definitely want you to get the support you need.
Will you explain what CAPS is real quick?
CAPS is the Mental Wellbeing Center on our campus, also called Counseling and Psychological Services. They provide you therapy, they provide you group sharing sessions, they provide you safe spaces to just talk to someone. There's mentorship models. This again, like if you're queer, if you're someone with disability, depending on your identities, there's also identity groups. There's an international students group specifically. So there's a lot of services that I would encourage people to use.
Yeah, and you pay for these services, so you should use them.
And there are no limits, by the way.
Oh, that's a new thing, I think. That's really wonderful. Yeah, and we actually have a couple, actually three, no, actually more than that. I'm sorry. We have a number of sessions that we're collaborating with counseling and psychological services. So they're actually going to be holding like a grad student, like drop-in space in our classroom here. And so those are going to be on our calendar soon. Each will have a theme. So hopefully you can make it to that. I have seen a bunch of questions in the chat about so students who are distance ed or students who are, you know, partly distance ed, if you have asynchronous classes, what are ways to connect with your classmates?
I think it can be as simple as like reaching out or finding some kind of commonalities. My program is primarily like online or in person, but I've had like one or two like online classes. And I think like if I really wanted to like reach out to an individual, I would just like send them a message on Canvas and I'm like, hey, like I remember you mentioned this, like, oh, like what did you think about this or something like that, like taking an opportunity to like connect with them. Like it kind of seems weird at first because it's like, okay, Canvas, like, you know, but I think just taking an opportunity, if you find that you really connect with someone just based on conversations you might have had in class, to just reach out to them and connect with them that way.
That's good advice, Simone. I just got a question to me personally about connecting with international groups. And I just wanted to say,
I just put in chat the link that takes them to the orientation portal, which has all the international groups.
okay, gotcha. Thank you so much. So yeah, the chat is confusing me today. I'm sorry. Did anybody else have advice for connecting with folks when you're not actually physically on campus? Actually, I thought of something. If you're a distance ed student, but you're in the area, you can actually take advantage of a lot of things on campus. There's like a daily parking pass you can get that's only like $8 if you go to Parking and Transportation Services. It's pats.charlotte.edu. If you go there, you can purchase a daily pass for $8, which is way less than you would pay if you parked in a visitor lot. So if there's something that you want to do on campus, if you want to come to the library, or if you want to come to one of our in-person workshops, you can come and do that. Also, we try to provide some online workshops and things that are pretty interactive. The Career Center does that as well. So you might be able to, hop into some professional development workshops, which would benefit you in the first place, but then also manage to interact with some folks while you're doing it. Any other advice for the distance ed students? Let's see here. We got questions about course packs here. This is a touchy subject, and books in general. So you have to opt out of the course pack. I don't have a link for this right now. Maybe somebody else does. So if it doesn't make sense for you financially to be charged according to credit hour for textbooks, then you need to opt out. So be sure you do that. And Barnes & Noble is definitely not the only place where you can buy books. We have, whatever. There's bookstores, there's Amazon, there's the library. And of course, our library participates in an interlibrary loan program. So if there's a book that you need that's not there at the library, you can usually request it from another library and it will come in like a few days, or they can often scan and send to you book chapters, articles, things like that. So you can definitely be economical as far as books go.
And to add to that, I've used the interlibrary loan multiple times for papers, all different types of things. And it actually is really efficient. I think it's even faster than a day. Like most of the time when I put it in, if I put it in the morning before I even leave campus, I have the paper or the chapter or the book that I requested. So they're very good at getting those materials to you with that interlibrary loan.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool system. Okay. Let me look. I'm looking at these questions here. Resources for parents. We're working on that. We're through the Center for Graduate Life and Learning. We do try to provide a couple of events each semester for parents. So look out for those. We might do something for Halloween maybe in the fall. Let me see. So is graduate school harder than undergrad in general?
I can 100% say I've had more fun in graduate school than undergraduate. It was challenging, it was more difficult, but I had more fun in graduate school.
For me, it feels like undergrad was the gen ed, and then grad school's like, okay, let's be for real now. So like it's harder. I feel like I'm learning 10 times as much. Even though my program is 3 years, I just feel like I've learned so much more than I did in undergrad.
I mean, it's nice because you're focusing primarily on just what you want to focus on, right? So even though it's tough, it should be enjoyable in a way.
I would say even as I've gone through the program, like it's gotten more enjoyable because like you get through the first 2 years of your coursework that's kind of standard, and then you can kind of get more focused. And I've really enjoyed just kind of tailoring what I study and really getting to become an expert at what I'm interested in. So that's really cool.
I feel like graduate school is not like just taking the course. It's more about the research and exploring yourself. It's a little bit harder, but you'll enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry, go ahead, Simone.
I was just gonna say, I think it's been more of like the looking internally, especially for my program, it's more experiential of like learning those skills and like sitting with folks. And so I think it's harder in the sense of like really taking a look at yourself and like really growing as a person and growing in the ways that will help you professionally.
Yeah, I think I share a similar sentiment. I'd say like as far as like the actual physical work goes, I think undergraduate was just a lot more like busy work. But with graduate school, it's kind of like, you know, one, you're doing something that you chose to do. Two, you're doing something that hopefully you're interested in when you do graduate school. So the biggest challenge though I've found is that it's challenging you to like think very critically. And I think that's the hardest part with that transition from undergraduate to graduate school, where like undergraduate is like, you know, a lot of times the answer to the question is somewhere in a book, in a paper, somewhere that you have access to it. Whereas with graduate school, it's like, you know, a lot of these questions, you might be the first person to be thinking about these questions, or you're one of the first people to be thinking about those questions. And then not only are you one of the first people to be thinking about those questions, but you also being asked to like critically think about that question and apply it to your research or whatever you might be doing. And so I think that's the hardest part, like learning how to learn how to be a graduate student is like the hardest part of being a graduate student.
That reminded me of like 3 or 4 different things. I was going to say, I know that a lot of international students, I know that in your cultures, a lot of times it's not polite to question your professors. So maybe Nita or Yesh could speak to that. Like debate is a healthy thing in our classrooms here, right? So you shouldn't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah, that's the thing I learned here, that we should always like ask question to our advisor or to anybody, even it is the easiest one. And we should not like, okay, so it is the same thing like imposter syndrome, I can say. Like you should not feel like if you ask question, they may say something, or maybe they will scold or something like that. We used to think, I mean, maybe like from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, whoever will be here, maybe we have like similar type of study pattern there. So it may feels like that, but here, as Dr. Young said, yeah, the debate is really healthy here, and we should do that. So we should not make any hesitation to ask question to anybody.
I also think there's different flavors or types of learning and professors. It's always helpful. So most classes have 1 or 2 professors teaching that course. Like one professor might be teaching it one semester, another might be teaching it another semester. And sometimes both are teaching at the same semester. And sometimes there are classes which are based on leave no one behind kind of teaching pedagogy, where the focus is not on being the best in the class, but on everybody learning up to a standard. And in those classes, the faculty are actually like looking forward to getting questions. Like they want you to ask questions. That like it's not a mindset of where like if you ask questions you're less intelligent or stupid, but it's that you're showing a sign of learning. And there are classes where it's more meritocratic based, or like a class where the faculty want to see people shine. And in those classes, asking questions actually makes you get more grades or points, even sometimes, because faculty give points to classroom engagement and things like that. So being shy or not asking questions might actually hurt your grade. So it's important to figure out what kind of course it is, what the faculty's expectations are, and and either way, it's always good to talk and communicate in a class.
even if it's like down to an attendance or anything, like stand up for yourself or just communicate with a professor. I remember I'm like, I'm gonna show up to class. So my attendance, I take that very seriously, and some professors do too. But like the teacher counted me absent. And I was like, hey, like I was here this day, and always like just have like always consider having evidence for attendance, especially for the teachers that or professors that really strictly take that into accountability of grading. But I just went up to her, I was like, hey, I was here this day, and like I showed her like the notes I was taking. She was like, oh my, like I'm sorry, my bad, that's my fault. So like easy as that to fix.
Oh my goodness, there is so much to talk about, honestly. Like, I mean, virtually everything you said has reminded me of some other thing that like I wish I had done a little bit differently when I started grad school, but it's almost 5 o'clock. And so what I need to do is open up the breakout rooms in a sec. Thank you so much, GLFs. I always love getting to talk to you. And well, one of our GLFs isn't here, Aaron, he's sick. So we're missing him, but so the breakout rooms are, we've got distance education. So if you're taking classes virtually, you could hop into that room. That is going to be facilitated by Jay McCain, Louise Cart, and Paris Coleman from the School of Professional Studies. I hope I got that right. Our academic questions breakout room, we were having some technical difficulties with that, but hopefully it's going to work out okay. Michelle Hipke from the Graduate School is going to be answering questions in that room. She couldn't turn on her camera, but her audio should be working. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that works. We also had an issue with funding, a similar issue, but Rita Brown hopefully will be facilitating that room if you have funding questions. And then if you have international questions, we have Amy Maybury from the International Student and Scholar Office, and Nita here is going to join her as well if you want to talk with her. If you are interested in extracurricular activities or the graduate and professional student government or other student organizations, we've got Caitlin Klotz in there, and then Yesh, I think you'll be in there too as well, right? Maybe, perhaps. And then if you have questions that you just think are stupid and you don't want to make a fool of yourself, you can stay here in the main room with me and Simone and ask us any kind of random question you want to. So I'm opening up all the rooms, and folks, you should be able to jump into whichever room you want and jump between rooms if you want to ask different questions. And then at 6 o'clock, we're just going to go, we're not going to come back to the main room. So facilitators, you can enjoy the rest of your evening. So thank you so much, GLFs and Dean Mukherjee, and Holly already left, but big thanks to her as well. And
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations.